Aragon and diversity, two words that are so regularly found in the same sentence that they might as well be synonyms. Diversity is often thought to be Aragon's greatest strength, and for good reason too. Aragon is lucky enough to have a very mixed student body with kids from all sorts of cultures and backgrounds. But while Aragon has impressively high rates of ethnic diversity, the school is alarmingly lacking in one really important way. Welcome to Aragon's Tidal Politics. I don't expect it to come as a surprise that Aragon, and the entire Bay Area in general, is very liberal. Of the 9 counties that make up the Bay Area, every single one voted overwhelmingly Democrat in the past election. The Bay Area combined voted just under 3/4 Democrat, as opposed to less than 25% Republican. Our county, San Mateo, reflected those disproportionate numbers pretty closely, voting 76 to 18% respectively. Aragon echoes that trend too. Even though no official data has been published about the school's political alignments, it's somewhat common knowledge that the student body and faculty is majority liberal. Now in theory, it might seem like an advantage to have a student body that agrees on important things. After all, it makes sense that when students have similar ideas, there will be less disagreement, making the classroom a far more frictionless environment. However, in reality, like-mindedness in the student body can have some pretty serious implications inside and outside the classroom.
At a school, it's probably like any insulated society, that when like-minded people get together and they talk about a topic and they discuss that topic, instead of moderating, they become more extreme. So if people start with a viewpoint, and in this case a political viewpoint, where they all kind of agree, as they talk about that political viewpoint, as they consider it with each other, all that will happen is that they'll become more extreme to whatever their belief already is. They'll become more committed to it. They'll be less likely to listen to the other side because they'll be so convinced of their side's righteousness.
So political polarization is a big problem. But is it really happening here at Aragon?
So I'm Will Colglazer. I teach AP US History. So, for instance, today we were just talking about the anonymous op-ed written in the New York Times, and I showed a clip of Donald Trump reacting to it, calling it treason, and saying that there needs to be an investigation into the New York Times, that they should release the name of the person who did it. The general disposition of the classroom was somewhat of disagreeing with him because he was saying it rather than considering the concepts that were at play. That doesn't mean Donald Trump is right and everyone else in the classroom is wrong, but it means that you want to make up your opinion after you see the evidence on both sides rather than before. That's the definition of being narrow-minded.
Do you consider that a common occurrence here at Aragon?
Yeah, the kind of sense of if he says it, then I don't agree with it, rather than looking at what he says and seeing if that has evidence that is persuasive.
But political polarization doesn't just affect the majority. It often severely impacts the minority too. At Aragon, conservative students, who are in the minority, face the problems of being on the opposite end of political polarization.
Yeah, I think there's 2 major kind of common reactions. The first is quiet and not wanting to voice their opinion for fear of the pack turning on them. So sadly, they feel silenced, and that's not good, right? They should feel like there is a safe space to disagree, and in a civil society and a democracy that becomes important. So that's one extreme, the say nothing. The other extreme is what I see, which is a very defensive kind of conservative student. The conservative student who is doing some of the things that the kind of liberals are doing that they expressly don't like. The idea is if liberals are having snap judgments against conservatives, the conservatives are doing the same thing almost as a defense mechanism. So they would hear anything that is said by, say, Donald Trump, and they would inherently trust it, believe it, and support it without looking at the evidence either. And so both the conservative student and the liberal-leaning student are both making the same mistake, which is they're making this knee-jerk reaction without letting the evidence sway them one way or the other, and that's the definition of tribalism, right? So. Yeah, I feel a sense of empathy with conservative-leaning students that have this sense of feeling that they have to defend, that they have to put the party on their shoulders in any sort of discussion in class, rather than being able to just be another student trying to wrestle with these ideas.
I could say that can be true. I would say like there are certainly people who may not want to interact with me because of my beliefs. I mean, if you don't want to interact, I mean, that's fine. But I mean, I certainly can agree that people's like reactions may have changed a bit towards me, but I mean, not majorly, because I try not to be polarized myself. Like, I don't like to bring my political beliefs into stuff. I'm not usually attacked like personally. Most don't, which I think is good, but there are certainly some who will attack me personally. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your experience on the blog.
Right, so, because everyone sort of agrees with everyone on the blog, and there would be stuff that I would disagree with, and there would be times I would get called like a bad person. Like, I've been told that I don't care about people. I mean, it's fine. If you have to resort to that winning an argument, I've already won. Listen to the idea. I mean, if you listen, you don't agree with it, that's fine. You listen, you agree with it, it gives you better ideas. It helps you develop yourself and helps you be able to debate ideas. I think we should just listen to everyone's ideas and have a rational debate about it on any subject.
Do you feel that students at Aragon struggle with listening?
Sometimes. I would say most of the times, no. Like, in a more formal setting, it's good. In a less formal setting, I think it can be a little, like you said on the blog, there wasn't quite as much listening to that, and there was a little more just sort of mudslinging at each other.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening here at Aragon is only a microcosm of a bigger problem, one that has been developing at a large scale for a long time. It's a problem that threatens to make our country an unbearable place. People no longer know how to deal with disagreement, simply because it's become too easy to avoid it. As a result, it's becoming increasingly difficult for Americans to tolerate each other. But if students at Aragon can find a way to bridge the gap in our school, then maybe, just maybe, there's a chance that we can do the same thing across the country.